Today's video is brought to you by Inlights. Check out their Roxbox Valiant series today at inlights.com. That's INLIGHTZ.com.
You are now watching WhoDooTV.
Welcome to WhoDooTV.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Ace Comic Con 2019. Who is excited to be here? Anybody? Yes.
Nice.
Just an introduction. My name is Hooser. I'm the host of WhoDooTV. It's a YouTube comic book review interview channel on YouTube. We work with Outright Geekery. And so thanks for joining. And I got my lovable, cuddly friend here,
Not so
Chris.
cuddly. Not so cuddly, really.
He's the bald moose. So thanks for
How y'all
joining.
doing?
Yep. So today we're going to talk a little bit about something that's coming around the corner a little bit earlier than what you got to know is Vin Diesel. Anybody know who Vin Diesel is?
Come on, put up some hands. You know who Vin Diesel is?
Yes.
I know you do.
Yes. He is going to be in a new movie with a line more than I am Groot. So it is called BloodShot by Valiant Comics. Anybody heard of Valiant Comics out there?
Nice.
Chris and I are big fans of Moose, big fans of Valiant. And Valiant Comics fans, Facebook page admin.
Yeah, I'm the lead admin for the Valiant Comics fan Facebook page. 3,500 fans, specifically loving the comics. I'll tell you something, for probably the last year and a half, 2 years, this has been one of those moments that we've all been looking forward to. Finally getting the Valiant universe to step up and play with the big two, get their first movie out. And I think you alluded to it. Valiant's got a 5-movie deal, so they're not going away anytime soon. So strap on that seatbelt. It's going to be a great ride. If you haven't read Valiant comic books, we're going to tell you a little bit about them, but I'll tell you something. It's more than just the big two. It's a great emotional ride, and you're in for a treat.
Dude, Valiant is a world outside, your window. So their comic books are very grounded. They're very based in a lot of reality of what you're seeing. And BloodShot is pretty much, I'd say, is an exception to that. You're getting a lot of just in-depth fills with a lot of his stories that are pretty great. If those who have read them, we'll go and talk about those in a little bit. So we talked about the 5-movie that's coming out soon, and that is going to be a 5-movie series with Sony Pictures doing it. This has 2 BloodShot. BloodShot is going to be the introduction of this movie series, this universe. And then one of my favorites is Harbinger. Harbinger is a great character. They are psiots. They are a lot like the Marvel mutants or the DC metahumans. They are psiots with psiotic powers that have to be unlocked. And there's going to be a crossover event. In 2012, we'll talk about that. But there was a great crossover event called the Harbinger Wars. Harbinger Wars introduced a really cool crossover with BloodShot Harbinger. It's going to be a great, I could just picture now, the cinematic is going to be very great within this.
So if you had one drawback from the big two, just a little bit more on the comics, it's probably that something that happened in one book, it doesn't necessarily matter because Batman does something and he's always fighting the Joker. He beats up the Joker, and then there's the Joker in the next book. Right. Valiant doesn't do that. If you die, you die. That character's gone, never to be heard from again. So that's one thing that's kind of special about Valiant.
Yeah, and so moving forward, Valiant started in the 90s. Jim Shooter, former Marvel editor-in-chief, 9-year run with Marvel. He's the editor that was behind Chris Claremont and John Byrne's X-Men Uncanny X-Men, which is a fantastic run. He was behind Frank Miller's Daredevil, and he kind of separated away from Marvel. He moved over.
He got fired.
Man, it's separate.
He got fired.
Separation is a nice way to say it. Jeez. Throw the guy under the bus. But Jim Shooter was phenomenal. He started this, and he had some great talent behind him. Bob Layton. He was really big in Iron Man back at Marvel for a long time. And these guys, and Barry Windsor Smith, an amazing artist. And these guys started a great universe that had some awesome characters involved.
One of the things that they were catalyst in bringing that you see, that you almost think of as being common, is zero or origin stories in your comic books. Valiant was the first ones to put those out. Other things, gold stamped or special chrome variant covers, they're one of the first to do those as well. And of course, in the late 90s, that became very, very huge. Redeemable coupons inside of comic books, another very big thing. And you got a book that you just couldn't buy on the shelf. So that was always something that was a little special.
They were huge catalysts into being fan-friendly. If you go to one of the cons and Valiant's there, you're likely going to get a free book if you're wearing a Valiant shirt. And that is one that he talked about, the gold shirt, the gold books. They definitely are very engaged with there. They're a small enough company to where they can really even know who you are as a fan if you're in social media. They're a phenomenal company to follow. They do a lot, and they produce some good books. They only do about 6 books to 10 books a month. So it's a universe where you could get all of it instead of trying to keep with the 30, 50, whatever books that Marvel and DC are coming out with every month. I think there's about 10 Batman books every week.
Yeah. Anybody out there read Batman?
No?
All right.
We like Batman too.
Yeah,
I love
good.
Batman.
Batman's good.
Yeah. Adam West was how I got into comic books, man. Like, loved.
Who didn't love
Batman
Adam
66.
West?
But Valiant had some great characters. Some that are Exo Manowar is one of their tentpole characters. He had just got a long series done by Matt Kent, where he kind of totally took a lot of his parts, took away his armor, and he's basically if Thor had Iron Man's uniform, his armor. But he's old. He's a Visigoth. He's,
basically a caveman, if you will. I mean, think Visigoth in the Roman Empire was about 900 AD. So you got a guy that doesn't understand politics. All he knows is war. That's him.
Right. One of the fun ones back then was Shadow Man. Shadow Man was a character. He is a voodoo, basically, character. He has a voodoo logo following him. And he was really big. There was actually a crossover with Aerosmith was into their comics back in the 90s. It was pretty funny, pretty fun. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah. Steven Tyler was possessed, and all he could do was walk and strut. So imagine, if you will, Steven Tyler doing his strut like he did back in the day in the 90s on some of the videos. And that's what he was doing through the whole comic book. And he's just wandering. Right. And they had to figure out what was going on. So it was kind of an interesting, fun little event.
Some of these other characters back that you see up here, Archer and Armstrong, that one has been rumored to actually be set to be a movie with DMG Entertainment, who now owns Valiant. They have talked about that coming out soon. There's been talk about a Dr. Mirage CW show at one time. And then after a while, Acclaim Video Games, they bought Valiant. And so one of the famous games was Turok Dinosaur Hunter, one of the gold key characters that Valiant initially had. And with that, there was also the launch of Quantum and Woody, another show that's rumored to be with the Russo brothers to eventually be in the works. It is a hilarious, the world's worst superheroes is kind of what it's deemed. They are stepbrothers that absolutely hate each other, but something happens that forces them to stay together.
They've got to work together in everything that they do.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny. Comedy.
But Acclaim kind of focused more on the video games and less on the comic books. They had Turok Dinosaur Hunter, which you can see on the N64, which is a very popular game. But later, Acclaim folded, and Valiant went kind of dead for a while. There was some fans of them that were fans from the 90s. One of the fans that was there was a guy named Dinesh Shamdasani, and he's a fan. There's a picture of this guy when he was 10 years old with a Valiant birthday cake. And he ended up buying Valiant, all the properties of Valiant, to relaunch Valiant in 2012.
Shortly after that, that's when Sony Entertainment got involved, and they purchased the rights during the, I don't know how many of y'all remember the Sony WikiLeaks. Sony, all their information got out there, and there was some information that they had purchased 5 movie rights. So since then, and that was...
You jumped ahead like 5 years, dude.
Oh, yeah, I guess I did, huh? That's all right.
In 2012, BloodShot was relaunched. Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Setting the world on fire. They started with 4 books with Exo Manowar, Harbinger, Archer and Armstrong, Fred Van Lente, hilarious book, one of the most funny books you'll read, and then BloodShot. So set it out the world to start with these guys. And it took off. They had premier talent.
And what Valiant was really, really good at doing was finding that up-and-coming talent. So give me a name, any name that's big in comics right now, and they usually got them right before they got big. Matter of fact, it's usually the book they did right before they got really big.
Even now, they have one of the best horror writers, Colin Bunn, writing Punk Mambo, which is a phenomenal book. Yeah, you look at it. Rob Venditti, who's been on Green Lanterns. Anybody Green Lanterns fan? Anybody? No?
Anybody follow Garth Ennis?
Garth Ennis?
Garth Ennis fans? He wrote some books for him before he put out Preacher.
Punisher Max.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. Best run there. And then we can go forward. And Chris, what's your favorite character?
Well, I'm not going to hide who my favorite character is. I mean, he makes me look amazing, right? Yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
Got that I call it my six-pack flab, not my six-pack ab. But, yeah, my absolute favorite is BloodShot. He's one of the very first comic books I picked up from Valiant, and I went back and I read everything from the beginning. BloodShot is he's one of those characters where he's a nanite-infused
Give us the
soldier.
elevator pitch.
He's a nanite-infused super soldier who is being controlled by a government contractor, and basically he's under the microscope constantly. Computers not possess him, but they control him. They wipe his mind. They implant something you called an engram. So basically, the character, your wife just got kidnapped by this group. You're the only person that can get in there and save her. And so he's off, boom, boom, boom. And then at the end of it, he realizes, wait a minute, I just killed a whole bunch of people for this group. Then he gets put under the knife again. He gets his mind wiped. And he's back out there again because his best friend is caught behind enemy lines, and he's got to go in there and do it. And every time, he doesn't know until the very end. Well, in the books, shortly after the beginning, he realizes it starts to catch on that something's wrong here. And so he's a man in search of himself, trying to find out who he is. Yeah. Now, I know BloodShot's not your favorite, right. So you tell me who your favorite is.
It's kind of great how it connects, but I love the Harbingers. The Renegades. They are phenomenal. We got a fan back there. You're going to hear a lot in the future about Faith. Faith is a superhero that loves being a superhero. She is so happy about being a superhero. She is a plus-size woman. She's breaking the mold of what people really think of what a superhero is. So Faith she's excited about it. She's happy to save the day whenever she can. But she's also connected with some people with some issues. They, like I said, the Renegades, the Harbinger Foundation, they're psiots, which are a lot like your mutants. But they're a team with Pete Stanchek, who is a guy who has some issues.
Drug addict.
Yeah, and he does some things that you might not like. But it's weird how Joshua Dysart wrote them in this 2012. Phenomenal. He writes characters so well. But this ties into the movies.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So this is going into the movies where this is going to cross over. You're going to have a Harbinger movie or a BloodShot movie, Harbinger movie, BloodShot movie, Harbinger movie, and then a crossover. The Harbinger Wars. Definitely should be on your reading list. If it's something that kind of intrigues you about a new movie that's coming. It's a phenomenal read. Joshua Dysart, Dwayne Shazinski, they do a great job of doing these characters to make you actually feel for these people. And with that being said, Chris, so BloodShot. BloodShot is a nanite. So he's got nanite computers running through his blood that will make him have super speed, that will make him reproduce. He needs protein.
Yeah, protein. So he can do all these things. He can get shot. Doesn't phase him. He can push through it, but he's got to regenerate, so he's got to ingest protein. So there's some funny moments in the comics that when he's trying to ingest, or he sees a cow, and then you kind of get from the idea that he's ingesting all this protein so that he can regenerate himself. But these nanites, it kind of communicates with them. They help give him direction. They help find himself. They help him find himself. And we're hoping that we're going to see some of that in the movie.
Yeah, there's going to be awesome. So I usually give my elevator of BloodShot is he's, I don't know, anybody heard of the character Wolverine? So the government basically did some tests on him to get him to be a super soldier, a lot like Captain America too, right? And then a little bit more like Terminator, where he's part robot. He's kind of out to do his mission and his mission alone. Then I would say he's a little bit more like the Punisher. He loves guns. It's violent, so kids, this is going to be
Revenge.
rated R.
Revenge.
The movie is going to be rated R. And then I would say a lot like RoboCop with the mind wipe, how that goes. Maybe a little Universal Soldier movie, the Van Damme movie that came out. So he's a very cool character. Super speed, endurance, the ability to manipulate himself and look different. It's going to be great, like all the way down. So let's go.
That's where we're at.
And so one of the best stories, so getting some reading recommendations, obviously 2012 to get it started.
Yes, the beginning of 2012, the relaunch of BloodShot absolutely should be on there. But actually shouldn't be your number one. Your number one should be a book called The Valiant.
Yes, The Valiant is actually the start of where Jeff Lemire, who is one of the hottest writers out in comics right now, Eisner Award winning and nominated multiple times over. He currently has a book, Gideon Falls, phenomenal independent book if you guys haven't read that. And then he starts The Valiant to go into BloodShot Reborn, where he definitely pulls apart this character and his tropes with PTSD and the trauma he's kind of come across, being wiped so many times, killing so many people. He doesn't know if he's killed 100 or thousands of people. And it's just how he's been manipulated. And so to draw this back on seeing this guy broken is just phenomenal the way the comic book does it. And I'm praying that the movie does some justice.
Exactly, yes. I mean, everything that we've talked about so far is really kind of building up to give you an idea of what you might expect. I'd hate for you to go into the movie and not really understand why he's doing the things that he's doing. But, just a little bit of an insight. If we're going to see this stuff, it's going to be phenomenal.
Coming out soon is a relaunch of BloodShot. It's not necessarily a relaunch, but it's a new writer starting a brand new story arc. It's Tim Seeley. Tim Seeley is he's a great writer. He's done the recent run of Nightwing and Grayson, who at one time, for those, that was the original Robin with Batman. And he had been on that for a long time. Tim does action very well. We had the chance to meet him at Emerald City Comic Con, and what he's got in store for coming for BloodShot is going to be action-packed. It's going to be adventure. So if it's something that you like a lot of action in your comics, this is where it's going to be. He's kind of taking a different approach with Jeff about getting into the emotional side, and this is moving into the action and adventure of it. And that's coming out in September. We did a video with them if you want to check that out from Emerald City Comic Con with Tim.
Here we have some of the images, and we'll get at that for a second, here in a second. But just to hit really quick, who made BloodShot? Kevin Van Hook. He was one of the artists, Don Perlin, Bob Layton, and David Klisick. He's the individual that actually came up with the name. So these are, to us, they're really important people. They're almost gods, if you will. We love them to death. But,
like one of the things that's cool about Valiant, though, too, is like if you get on the Valiant pages, like Kevin Van Hook is on there. And you have a question about what's going on, he's going to talk to you. And this is the guy who created that. And you can see these images that he actually went to South Africa to meet Vin Diesel during the shooting of this film. And that just shows so much of what Dinesh is in the bottom right corner, who is one of the producers of this movie. He made it a point to make sure that the guys who created this are keeping true to the comic book, that there is a lot of connection to it. So reading the comic books is going to be important with it. And these guys have told us that they read the script, they loved it, they approve it. And so that says a lot about what's coming with these guys. And then you'll see in here, one dude who's really pumped up about this movie more than anybody is Vin Diesel himself. He is posting images on his Instagram a lot. He's phenomenal. Vin Diesel, in 2017, had his movies made more money than anybody.
Can you believe that? I mean, just rattle off a few of the movies that we had.
That year was Triple X, Return of Xander, Xander Cage. And then he also had Fast and Furious 8, I believe, or 32?
Yeah, 32, I think it was.
Okay. So there's another one of those coming out, too. And then I believe he also was Groot that year with one of the Avengers movies.
That was a big one. But yeah, so highest grossing. He's monstrous in China. They absolutely love the Fast and Furious whole series. The movies that he's in, they just produce. If you like action, that's what he does.
He hit the gym hard to get to this role, to put on some bulk. And it definitely shows that his connection with it. And then, who's heard of the Stars TV show Outlander? I know that's, some people have. Some people are popular about that. It's popular with the ladies. So, what's his name? Sam?
Sam Hugan?
Sam Hugan. popular dude. He's really all about it too. So seeing some actors that are in it that are really really pushing this is really great.
Guy Pearce. Anybody know Guy Pearce out there? Memento. That blew my mind. I was younger. I watched that movie. I'd never seen anything like it. Blew my mind. Loved that thing so much.
Count of Monte Cristo is awesome, man. Him and Jim Caviezel.
Yeah.
That was a good movie. So, and then Iron Man 3. Anybody heard of Iron Man here? No.
Maybe one or two.
Maybe not.
Maybe no.
And then Sam Heughan, like I said, the Outlander, and then Toby Kibble. He was recently off Fantastic Four, and this was kind of like the relaunch of the relaunch of the relaunch Fantastic Four. And so he was there with that. He also, what else did I have here? Warcraft, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and Wrath of the Titans. He's going to be one of the villains named Axe in this movie. So
the bad guy. It's going to be fun.
Yep. Well, I think Guy is going to be the bad guy. He's going to be the scientist behind it, about who infuses the nanites. Speculation, don't know that for a fact.
Another big star we have is Isa Gonzalez. You might remember her from Dusk Till Dawn 3, but her biggest one was Baby Driver. She was the female lead in that movie. She was awesome. Very, very cool. She's going to be this. I do believe she's the female lead. She's going to be Bloodshot's wife, but we're not 100% certain.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's a big name that pulls as well.
Right. A Game of Thrones actor, Johannes is in there. Johannesson. He's Game of Thrones and Atomic Blonde. But the one that I really want to point out is in the bottom right corner is Erik Heiser. Erik Heiser is the screenplay writer of this. Did anybody see that craziness that went on with Netflix with Bird Box?
Who watched Bird Box?
Wearing a
Anybody?
blindfold.
If you haven't seen it, not for the kids, but man, it's very tense. It's great.
Yes.
Great.
This guy has adapted that. He adapted that for Netflix. What was that, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
And then one of the ones that he was popular for was the Academy-nominated screenplay right for Arrival.
How many of y'all watched Arrival? That was intense as well, wasn't it? It had you on the edge. I mean, and he's all about math. He's a brilliant guy. He's all about math. So
and I love him because he's all about comics too. He ended
yeah.
up writing a great series, Secret Weapons, which talks a little bit about the psyops down the way. I hope that becomes a movie down the way.
So yeah, you got another person who loves comics, who wants to ensure that comics is going to be infused in the movie. Another bonus.
And then here's one that's really cool. Has anybody seen that new TV show on Netflix? I don't know how new, but Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah?
Yes.
Nice.
That very first episode is Dave Wilson directing it. That is the director of this new Bloodshot movie. Dave, I watched it again the other night. It is so awesome. This guy is he's really been tied in with video games. He's done a lot of video games like Star Wars. He did a lot of the graphic arts within Star Wars. And then he also helped, I forget the guy's name, from Deadpool. So he was one of the assistant art directors of Deadpool.
Assistant art director for Deadpool. Yep.
And
a lot of the action scenes.
Right? What else do we have on there that he's done? I know I had something else up there. Creative supervisor for Avengers, Age of Ultron. So he's been there. He's done it a little bit. And he's got some great graphics. I recommend going and seeing that Love, Death, and Robots. The first-ish episode, I believe it's called like Sonny's Dream or something of that nature.
Just to take a step back, y'all see this poster up here? The cool story behind this poster is it was leaked out when Vin Diesel was in the gym. He was getting jacked, and he posted a picture about an upcoming movie. Well, in the background, somebody had made mention, hey, that's a Bloodshot poster from one of the comic books. So the artist behind this, LaRosa, who's phenomenal, as you very well can see, he decided to create a motivational poster because Vin Diesel likes to plaster his gym with what he's getting ready to do. He created that, and if you look at it, it does look a little bit like Vin Diesel. And that's pretty much what he imagined Vin Diesel's going to look like at the movie, which to me is just an amazing image.
So that was one of one. They did a cover on this for Bloodshot Salvation. Jeff Lemire wrote it. One of one, and they were doing the Gaming for Paul fundraiser with Paul Walker. And there was a ton of Bloodshot items that Paul Walker put out. And this one of one auction that went on where you basically get drawn, right? You win a drawing of it.
Yeah.
Put your name in a hat.
Donate money to the cause. Get your name put in a hat. And then at the end of it, they draw it out. Typical drawing.
Who was the lucky jerk that won it?
Some lucky jerk up on the stage.
Yeah, so really cool that he's got this. It's phenomenal. Luis LaRosa is one of my favorite artists out there.
And really, it looks almost spitting image to what that is. It's an amazing cover. It's an amazing motivational poster. It's very cool.
And this trailer for this movie is set to come out a little bit after San Diego Comic-Con. So in the next month or so, you're going to be hearing a little bit more about this. And a lot of times for those who collect comics, any comic collectors out there kind of want to make $1 million maybe on a comic one day. Sure, there's somebody that wants to. Usually when the trailers hit, the comic book values go up because there are a lot of speculators that are hoping to make some money. So there is some books to potentially look at if you see around there. And it's funny because there's a little controversy about which one was the original.
The first appearance.
They were actually set. The Eternal Warrior #4 is set to be the first appearance with BloodShot. It came out first. It wasn't supposed to come out first. This was fun where we got some back information from Kevin Van Hook, the creator of it, where he told us that there was something with printing of Rye that caused it to come out a week later. So it kind of plays with this first appearance, the collector side. It's a geek thing if you're into that side of it. But Eternal Warrior #4, Rye #1. This was in
Rye Zero.
Rye Zero, yes.
That's this one here.
1992, November.
Yeah, all happening within a week of each other. BloodShot #1 came out the same day that Superman died. Yes. November 18th, 1992. That's when Superman died. And then, of course, what was it? 6 weeks later, he was, oh, hey, he's alive. Yeah. But yeah, so the universe of Valiant and this movie was born on the same day that Superman died. It's kind of a cool little tie-in.
So one thing that's cool is 1992 is what we're saying first appearance. So this is a character that you could really tie into. You don't have to go back to the 70s, 60s, even later to really find the story of this character. In 92, there was a 52-issue run with Valiant, and then Acclaim had him for a while. And then now we're pushing 100, I think, with BloodShot now on the new iteration of it.
Yeah, he's up and over 100, I do believe.
Right. So excited for this movie. Vin Diesel is pumped up for it. He's going to bring a lot of people. And then Guy Pearce, yeah.
Oh, Sam Hugan. Sam Hugan wore that shirt to San Diego last year? Or was it?
It was New York.
New York Comic-Con. And people just went crazy for the shirt. Right. So,
yeah. So, phenomenal Miko Suyan shirt. Love Miko. So, who likes free stuff?
Who other likes a little free thing?
Anybody like
a little bit?
Things?
Just a little bit?
Okay.
Nice.
So we'll get there in a second. We do want to thank Disc Heroes. They let us use their statue here of BloodShot.
Is this not cool?
This is a limited statue. There's only 300 made. I believe this one was $287.
Yeah.
They will offer a 25% discount. They're at the far end back there. So it's a good deal for this statue that is a limited number that is no longer being made.
It was so cool that they let us borrow this and put it up on stage because in the Valiant Comics fan on Facebook, there's a lot of people that just salivate when they see this because it's the first time that anything from Valiant was put out to look cool. And so it's very coveted. So I hope one of y'all get out there and snag it up. Yes. It's fun.
So, and Inlights helped us with their rock box, the BloodShot rock box.
Rock box.
So
it's
thanks for Inlights. But we are some running giveaway. So can anybody tell me when this movie is set to come out?
Somebody, please raise your hand and tell me when it's going to come out.
I see you over in the right corner.
Yeah, gentlemen. Yep, yes. Bam!
This is yours, man. This is yours. Come get it.
Come get it, sir.
Ooh, All Blacks jersey. Yeah. I like that All Blacks, too. Heck yeah. Go All Blacks.
On-off button right there. So you can turn it off. Thank you very much.
And shout out to Utilikill. Yes.
That is boss.
And then I have the whole collection of the Jeff Lemire run of BloodShot Reborn. And so who is going to be starring as BloodShot?
Somebody, there we go. Bam.
Got it.
Huh?
It's yours.
Bam.
Man, that was a hard question.
That's a tough question. We have just game changers, don't we?
Yes.
It's tough.
What else do we got here?
Remember that book I talked about? That was a great intro point to get to know and get comfortable who he is? The Valiant?
Yes. So how about somebody name a character other than BloodShot in the Valiant universe?
You go ahead. Faith is another one that's in the Valiant universe.
You rocked it.
You were awesome.
All right.
It's loud up here too, so my ears being blasted by the speaker here. So yeah, sorry about that.
And what do they call the little robots that are in BloodShot's bloodstream? Right there in the center of the glasses. Nanites.
Nanites.
Got it.
Come on up.
Oh, we got more. All right. So let's get in here. What does BloodShot's nanites need to function? Blue hair. Oh. Protein. Come on up. Come on up.
We can almost just give these
Yeah,
away to
both of them.
interested. Give you the first 2 books. I hope you enjoy it. Fun read.
So we're pumped up about this book that's coming out, or this movie that's coming out with Vin Diesel, and we're excited what Valiant Universe has in store. There's great characters that you want to be in touch with, and yeah.
Listen, if you're curious at all about this movie, and I really hope you are, I hope we piqued your interest. I see a little one back there with her hand raised. Really, get with Valiant. If you follow Twitter, if you're on Instagram, get on Valiant Comics, follow them. They've got tons and tons of spoilers, tons of information coming out.
Check out that new Tim Seeley book that's coming out in September.
Absolutely.
BloodShot. That's going to be phenomenal. Brett Booth, he's a Marvel artist that's been around for a long time, is doing the art for that book. So, yeah, and we appreciate it if you guys would look us up at WhoDooTV.us or at YouTube, Outright Geekery, just WhoDooTV. Give us a follow. If there's stuff you want us to cover, want us to review, we focus on more of the independent, smaller universe comics, not so much big two, so sorry if that's your thing. Plenty of other people doing that. So we appreciate everybody for jumping out.
Thank you.
Make sure you check out this movie coming
Thanks
out.
for your support.